Visitor Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, tonight we've brought two bills to this House that help vulnerable families, our families. We've brought two bills to protect children against abusive adults, and I thank the Minister, Paula Bennett, for bringing that bill. We've brought another bill to protect borrowers from predatory lenders, and I thank Craig Foss for bringing this particular bill to the House, sir. So these two bills demonstrate again that this government cares for the poor, the downtrodden and the vulnerable. Sir, in tough economic times when people have to work extra hard to pay their bills, put food on the table, as the last member has just stated, and provide for their families, it is unacceptable that they be taken advantage of by loan sharks. So a family, sir, that borrows $1,000 but can't pay it back, and the lender knows they can take anything in that house to repay the loan, toys, beds, cultural items such as fine mats, sir, and even things that don't belong to them. Sir, when a young auntie is the guarantor of a car loan but no one explains to her that this loan she may have to pay back if her nephew doesn't meet those payments, and she can pay up to double the price of the car loan. Sir, when a man buys a TV on credit, the contract includes lots of fees and insurance, but he doesn't know what all these costs are about. These are the types of examples that I've witnessed in my electorate office in Maungakeke and Onehunga. These are some of the common problems, as has been identified in the Consumer Affairs Ministry's campaign launched last year, which looked at vulnerable communities, sir. Sir, we've addressed some of the issues around families who need to work within their means and their budgets. The Minister, Paula Bennett, increased the budgeting services budget up to just under $11 million, sir. And it was a paltry $4 million under the Labor government, sir. So when this government came into, the national government came into power, we were set about to promote investor confidence in the financial sector that had been rocked by finance company failures, and we moved quickly to arrest some of those issues that arose within the securities industry, which we all know about. Financial Markets Conduct Bill passed 2 months ago, the Financial Service Providers, Financial Advisors Bills that went through this House and did get support across this House, and that was initiated by this national government. Sir, it also follows on from my Money Lenders and Licensing and Regulation Bill, which I introduced in 2011, that addressed the licensing regime around some of these lenders, repossession agents, forms of security, looked at behaviour of lenders, as well as penalties for their behaviour. I'm happy and I'm proud that this bill takes some of the measures that I worked hard to deal with in my private member's bill, but also it was in response to a number of people that I'd talked to, budgeting agencies, NGOs that worked with vulnerable borrowers, and the work that they'd done. So we also had a financial summit in 2011 where we brought together over 250 people from community groups, some of those budgeting agencies, but also banks, financial regulators and credit companies. And that was the genesis, sir, to this bill coming into force. Last year, the Honourable Simon Bridges went through a draft bill that we consulted on across our communities and across New Zealand. And this bill took on board some of the recommendations of the Law Commission around repossession, 58 recommendations that were made in total. So this is a multi-pronged approach, sir, towards promoting responsible lending by increasing consumer protections and requiring that lenders give borrowers more information, but that they also look at their total circumstances. It's not just about the income that borrower is able to generate, but it is about their total circumstances and their ability to repay those loans. So it's right and proper, sir, that this bill addresses a borrower's financial circumstances and requires that lenders look at them and can be reasonably expected to whether they can be reasonably expected to repay without causing insignificant hardship. So sorry, sir, it is about responsible lending and means that lenders have a duty to look out for their customers. Many lenders are responsible, sir. In our discussions across this country, talking to banks, second and third tier lenders, they are responsible, and this bill doesn't target those lenders. It really is about targeting what we call loan sharks, those that prey on the vulnerable, those that prey on the poor, those that prey on those that are unable to repay their loans. So we've incorporated both pieces of legislation around consumer credit contracts, but also Credit Repossession Act, and this is what this bill incorporates as part of its mandate. So the principles in this bill will be complemented by what many have already described tonight as a responsible lending code. It will go out for and seek industry best practice and consultation. Lenders and interested consumer groups will be consulted in the development of that code, and I think in bringing that together, sir, I believe we will have a workable and certainly a functional piece of legislation with which we can be proud of. So, sir, the policy objective really is around ensuring that creditors lend to consumers who can manage their consumer credit contracts responsibly, provides protection for vulnerable consumers, including those from unscrupulous lenders, which we've all talked about tonight. And sir, this bill is to be commended. It is a bill that we can certainly welcome, and we seek not just the support of New Zealanders, which we know we have, but support of parties across this chamber. Thank you.
Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr.